Hi, everyone, and thanks, Jeff, for joining me. Today, we're going to be going over your third key design tip for 2021. And this week, we're going to be talking about collections. So, Jeff, how should people be thinking about collections? How are they used in games today?
Collections is like a sort of wild card feature that could really go in any genre of game, and you've seen them in many genres. You obviously seen them in like the Farmville style games. You've seen them in RPGs. You've seen them in casino games. It really is something that could fit in almost every genre. And the great thing about collections is they could be great for engagement. It gives players something, a short-term goal that they could focus on while they're playing the core game, but it also could be used for monetization. You could sell collection pieces in gachas and sale packs as event rewards. It's easily expandable. You could launch with 10 collections and add new collections over time. It really is a low risk, low sort of cost feature to add in that won't really conflict with anything else you have in your game. So, it's probably the feature that I recommend the most, just because I know it's going to fit in with what the main design is for the game.
Right. And Jeff, we've seen collections in a lot of different genres, as you mentioned. I mean, obviously in RPG, collections are used a lot, especially with gacha systems. But in addition, even like social casino, we're seeing the slaughter card system and Slotomania. And how do you think about, or I would say first, why do you think collections are so popular? And what is it about collections that allows them to be integrated in so many different kinds of genres?
Part of it is, when you're giving rewards, more is generally better. I mean, we know from games, if you get 5 things instead of one thing when you do an action, it just psychologically feels better.
Right.
And that's what collections allows you to do, because some pieces of a collection are given out are much more common than others. By the time you complete a collection, you may have 200 of one of the collection pieces, but only one of the rarest pieces. So collections allows developers to just give out a lot more stuff for actions. And social casino you bring up is a good example of that. When you're just winning coins or waiting for that mini game, like getting these items that are not coins, breaks up the monotony of just focusing on coins that you're winning, and it allows you to think about other stuff to do besides just playing the core game. And it's similar with other genres. In a farm game, going through the monotony of harvesting all your crops, it's the same action, but then having that surprise moment where you also get a collection piece, again, it breaks up the monotony and it creates more feel-good moments. The challenge for collections is, what do you get when you complete the collection? And obviously, RPGs and strategies are going to have an advantage there because they could always give bonuses that help. But even casual games, like any game that has even like a basic economy, permanent economic rewards for completing collections are always going to be popular. But even consumables or just more currencies can work depending on the economy of your game. So that is just something to think about if you're thinking about implementing collections into your game.
And Jeff, would you recommend any specific collection design, any particular ones that if I'm a designer or if I'm a product manager looking at my game and I'm trying to think about how would I integrate collections into my game, what are some references or examples that you can think of? And then when you see those examples and think about your own game, how would you think about integrating something like that to be relevant for the specific game that you're looking at?
I would first think about, how are you going to distribute collection items? If it's for example, a strategy game, and you wanted to have collections be farmable from this one action type. Say like Game of War used to have like a treasure digging sort of feature on the map where a treasure spot would appear and you go send an army and dig up what's there and you get, some reward. So like if you imagined doing that with a collection, say a collection you thematically made artifacts, and you had to complete artifact by collecting all its pieces, tying that to a feature like excavating on the map or something like that could work pretty well in a 4X game. It gives your armies something that is not PvP oriented to do, but yet could create opportunities for more PvP if other armies try to boot you off that excavation spot. RPGs, it's, having special certain gameplay modes associated with the collections could be a way to drive players to engage with those gameplay modes, or you could have special events. With more casual games like farm games, having the collection be associated with the action that's rewarding it. So like if say your carrots have its own collection, the collection pieces could be, something that has to do with carrots, like a carrot, clothing with carrots on it, or something like that. It'll make sense to the player, and it gives the player a little information about how they get collection pieces if they could tie the action to the pieces that they get. Otherwise, that's kind of another challenge for games, is informing players where do they find these collection pieces. So I would definitely advise trying to tie the collection pieces to specific actions so that you educate your players on how to try and complete the collections.
All right, cool. Any other words of wisdom, last minute tips for the audience here, or should we close this out and wait for tip 4 coming up?
Just that, a lot of games feel like collections can come down the road, after they launch and get their KPIs to where they want to be. But I'm a believer in doing them sooner rather than later.
Okay.
Not just for because of the monetization implications, but more so for engagement. Having these sort of shorter to sort of middle time goals to work towards can really help a game if you feel like your game does not give players enough short-term goals to work on. So just keep that in mind when deciding when to implement collections into your game.
All right, cool. All right, thanks, Jeff. There we have it. Jeff's design tip number 3 of 4 of game design tips and concepts that you should be thinking about for 2021. Thanks a lot for your time, Jeff.
Great talking with you as always.
Okay, bye.